Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
All right, folks, welcome back on Time Sports Talk. 2-week layoff. We are back. I am the original Casey Schedule, the bald and beautiful. No, I'm not the original. Did I just say the original?
Yeah,
Did I
you just said you were the original. You're
I'm
not.
not. Remix. My
This
bad.
is the original.
Yeah, the one doing the weird thing with his eyebrows. That is Eddie, the original Schedule.
And that's just weird for you to call me Eddie, but okay.
That's what I say every week. Eddie, the original Schedule.
Do you
We're
say
off
it every
to it.
week?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I don't know how. Maybe I'm feeling like Biden. I'm forgetting some things. But let's go.
We're off to a hot start. We're coming out hot here, folks. Oh man, so we got to play a little bit of catch up. We're gonna talk some NFL football for you, and we got college football rankings. We got controversy based off of I think is a non-story. We'll get to that. And then we got a little NBA. Clay going back to San Francisco for the first time as a member of the Mavs. Look at the standings. We got NHL. Kind of look who's hot. There's a couple teams that surprised me.
Clay going back to San Francisco?
Yeah, as a Maverick for the first time.
Okay. You mean Golden State? That's what you mean. Okay.
Well, they play in San Francisco.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, everybody left Oakland.
I'm just trying to be clear for the audience out there. So
I think our audience is somewhat intelligent. They knew what I meant. No, I don't insult their intelligence.
Golden State is much better than a golden shower. So, okay.
No, that's true. Right? You don't want a golden shower. We got our picks, and then, of course, we going to get to it. Holy crap. The dumpster fire keeps getting bigger. It keeps getting more depressing. That was the worst birthday party watch ever, or watch party that we did for your birthday this Sunday. So happy belated, even though I did say happy birthday. So everyone, the old man got a little older, and I'm just trailing a couple decades behind him. So, but happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right, let's start with the NFL. Let's get to it.
I thought we had a joke to start off with here.
You forget.
You always forget this. Yeah. Right. Got to start off with the funny.
God, yeah.
All right.
Hopefully one fan still finds us funny.
So what did the one saggy boob say to the other?
One saggy boob say to the other. I feel like I've heard this one before, but it's been a while. Go ahead.
We better get some support soon, or people are going to think we are balls.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that one's solid. I will say the first time I heard that, I laughed, but as soon as you started saying the punchline, I knew it. So, still haven't got me to laugh yet. So, all right.
You cracked up on the driving me nuts.
I smiled. I didn't crack up. All right, let's not.
I see. I have to go low with the nuts and the balls to get you to crack up. So there you go.
Well, all you know is jokes about nuts and balls. All right.
Well,
and you know
gotta be a squirrel after a nut.
You're a multicolored flag hanging behind you here soon. You keep making those jokes.
Hey, whoa. Easy now. Trying to start some controversy.
Yeah. All right. NFL. Let's get caught up. Crap, I didn't have this pulled up. There we go. Let's start with the AFC. Who's right now surprised you in the AFC based on the standings? While you stew on that, I'm going to say, I'll be honest, the Steelers have surprised me thus far, being 7-2, starting two different quarterbacks. Russell Wilson looked like having a little resurgence. They're ahead of the Steelers in the AFC North. I think that's pretty good. I did not see that one coming this year.
Well, I think there was a lot of hope, but I think and there was a lot of controversy switching over to Russell Wilson. A lot of people thought, that Fields was going to give him the best chance just because he is a pretty dynamic player. And obviously Russell Wilson in Denver the past few years didn't show much. But from everything that I've seen from him, putting him in there, he just break it down to very simple terms. He throws a better football than Fields does. And I think that made a huge difference. He makes better decisions when it comes to that because he's more of and this is weird to say this about Russell Wilson, he's more of a pocket quarterback than Fields is. And I think Fields has a tendency to get antsy too quick, whereas Wilson's been back there long enough to go through his reads, find the open person, and really he puts touch on the football. If you watch Russell Wilson throw the football, he doesn't just throw it, as hard as he can every time. There's quite a few, to me, there's a few quarterbacks in the league who just throw it too hard when they don't need to and make it difficult to catch sometimes, or they just flat out overthrow people. I think you're seeing that in Chicago with Williams. I think he hasn't learned to put touch on the football yet, and it shows through his play. So,
well, Williams can't stay upright. He's getting beat to crap. But the other surprise is for me is the AFC West, Harbaugh and the Chargers, and really turning that around this year. I think I was hopeful. I think we both secretly root for the Chargers because of your history in San Diego and me visiting all the time. So, but they're 6-3, so they're not to be trifled with. They're here to play.
Oh yeah. My surprise is in that division too. I did not think the Chiefs were going to be undefeated at this point. I think the Chiefs are good every year, but they kind of takes a while to find themselves. And quite frankly, they've got, you can call it luck, you can call it putting yourself in position or whatever, but they've had a few games where they've eked it out at the end, obviously just like this last game. But I think that's a surprise for me that they would be 9-0. And quite frankly, I think they're going to go 10-0 based on their schedule this week. But that's, because they're playing the quarterback I don't like. So
yeah,
we'll get to that.
The Chiefs, you just talk about a championship program, championship organization, I guess I'd say program would be like a college thing. They just find ways to win and they find guys to fill holes. When Pacheco, their running back, goes down, they bring back Kareem Hunt. I think the Cowboys would have loved what Kareem Hunt's doing for them more than we're getting out of our running backs. Heck yeah, they seem to pick guys. They get DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I know he's older and he's not in his prime anymore, but the man can still catch the ball, and he's still a force to be reckoned with. And you add all those pieces to the Kelsey, and obviously Mahomes is probably the MVP in the leader right now, and we're going to talk about who our MVPs are. The other one in the AFC, before we get to the NFC, is a team you always seem to not want to give any credit to because you have a personal vendetta against their quarterback. The Bills are 8-2. Can you finally admit the man can play quarterback? Can you finally admit it?
He's in the same division with the Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots.
And
what are their combined records right now? Do any of them have a winning record? Have any of them won more than 3 games? No. So he's in a crappy division. Once again, it's going to go to the Bills fan. And I feel for you, Bills fans. You've lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Worst losing streak in championship history that I can remember. Sorry. Feel bad for you. Sorry, not sorry. But they're in a terrible division. So this is why the Bills, everybody gets up on the Bills. Oh, the Bills are going to be great because, oh, Josh Allen is so great or whatever. And then they get to the playoffs and wah, wah, wah. Guess what? You got to play real teams then. You know what? This week, they got to play the Chiefs. And the Chiefs are going to, mark my words, they are going to be 10-0, and it ain't even going to be that close.
Yeah, and I don't believe you on that. And I mean, if you look at how he's playing statistically, he's got 17 touchdowns to 4.
Oh, here comes the Josh Allen for MVP talk.
That is going to be my pick since you want to.
Yeah, see, I
Wait,
knew it was coming.
here's the thing. Before the season, you're sitting there saying they're not going to win any games. He's trash. Or you may not said trash, but you didn't say he wasn't a top 5 quarterback. I know you said that. And he is. Just finally admit that he is a top 5 quarterback in this league. And I'll leave you alone on it because he is. He just got Amari Cooper 2 weeks ago. Other than that, you can't name a single person he's throwing the ball to. You can't name me who's running the ball. You can't name me a single player on his defense. And they're 8-2. I don't care that the Cowboys were in a trash division last year and went 12-5. So sometimes you get lucky with the records. And the Patriots ran that division for years and no one was calling them trash or no one wasn't giving Brady credit. So, come on, just admit where you're wrong and let's move on from it.
Let's see. Let's look at the last 4 games. Who have they played worth the damn? Let's see. The Titans. Or do we consider them a good team? No. How about Seattle? Okay, Seattle might be a fairly decent team. So that's a good win. Okay. But then comes, who's next on the list here? The Dolphins. And they won by 3 points. Nearly beat the crappy ass Dolphins. And then in week 10, who do we play this time? And did we win? Barely again against the Colts. Would you say the Colts are a good team? No, you would not. So who's even the Colts quarterback right now? Last I heard it was Flacco. Yeah, it's Flacco. It's like a repeat of the replacement of what's his name? What did they call
Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves' name in there. It's Flacco here. Falco's coming in. Falco is coming in. That's what's happening there. He's coming in all the time. And how old is Flacco now? He's got to be 70.
I don't know, but he's probably around my age, honestly. Pushing 40. So, I'm amazed by your lack of recognizing talent when it comes to Josh Allen. And the Bills you can only play the schedule that's in front of you. Like, they won 8 out of 10. They're a good football team. Like Bill Parcells said, your record says what you are.
So let me just do this. This schedule's going to show you. The schedule that is behind them has been, behind schedule, Eddie schedule, behind schedule. Their record has been what it is because they're playing in a crappy ass division. Period.
Well, we're about to find out. So
yeah, they're going to do the same thing they always do. Every year they get to the playoffs and everybody's like, "What about back, baby, back." The Bills just lost.
Look, I'm not a Bills Mafia guy, but Bills Mafia, I'm on your side on this one. So if you're up there in New York in the Buffalo area, I got your back on this one.
Yeah, y'all better be rooting for the Sabres because that's the only team that's going to win y'all anything.
Oh, didn't they lose to a Dallas team in their last Cup appearance?
I don't know. It's hockey. Who's watching hockey right now?
Wasn't it the Buffalo versus the Stars in '99?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't want to throw more salt in the wound on Buffalo.
You already talked about 4 Super Bowls losses. That's about as bad.
Well, I know that, but I wasn't going to just totally threw the dirt on the grave. But that's okay.
Look, Buffalo, I still got your back. Josh Allen's is an MVP.
No, he's
So
not.
you know who my MVP is. Who is your MVP right now at this point in the season?
Is there any question that Mahomes is going to win it again? Is there really a question about this?
If there isn't a question if they stay on the trajectory that they're on.
And at what point do you think they're going to fall off that? I don't think they are at this point.
I think they lose this weekend.
So, well, then we're just both going to have to pick that game. I'm going to have to change one of the crappy ones that I picked. And we're both going to have to pick the Buffalo and Chiefs game because I'm taking the Chiefs all the way. You know, this Chiefs.
There's one of our freebie picks.
Yes.
To give too much away.
Change that.
All right, folks. So he's got Mahomes. I got Allen for MVP. That would be my vote, but I know Mahomes right now is the MVP, so I'm not insane or a lunatic.
The real question is, because they're going for a three-peat, can the Chiefs do the three-peat undefeated? The question.
No, because they're losing this weekend.
Okay, well, if they win this weekend, which I think they will pretty easily, can they do it?
Potentially, but I still don't think they're going to do it. All right, let's transition. Let's move on to college football rankings.
Well, before we get into rankings, guys, talk about some scores last week because there was some shit that happened. Because a certain team from Georgia, 2 teams from Georgia, did the unthinkable. One got their ass whooped when they were supposed to be the best team, and the other one ass whooped someone else that they weren't supposed to beat. Georgia Tech taking down number 12, Miami. I think they were, their number 12 is where they're at right now. What were they when they took them down? They were like 4 or 5, weren't they?
Something like that.
And then Ole Miss taking out the Bulldogs. Took Bulldog out the door and made him crap in the yard and get the hell out the neighborhood. Because
I'll tell you what,
Miss tore
that
them up.
That is a hell of a signature win for Lane Kiffin. You know, I know Lane Kiffin bad rap, and I don't know the guy well enough to have a positive or negative, but just strictly coaching, that is a huge win for him and that program. So big time win for there. Miami has barely beat teams. You want to talk about the Bills barely beating. Miami's barely beat teams that haven't really beat anyone either. I think they have a lot of brand bias on their ranking, to be honest. And then Georgia, they're not as dominant as they have been in the last few years. But working at the top, undefeated, first year in the Big Ten, pretty impressive. It's going to be fun watching them and Ohio State face off in the Big Ten championship game.
And hey, Purdue, next time just stay home. Don't even come to the stadium. Good gracious, don't even show up. If you're going to lose 45-0, just go away. And Texas Tech, how did that feel? That Dion and Colorado came in and put the ass whooping on you at home. That was not, well, obviously I'm for an Aggie, so I'm not a big Texas Tech, Texas Tech. So they got tore up. The Buffaloes came through and ran over that cowboy on the horse or whatever. So
it's a Red Raider.
Well, it's the same thing. And so
I was going to get to Colorado when we went down these rankings when I was going to talk about BYU, but since you brought them up, I owe Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffalo apology because after the second week of the season, unendorsed my support for Deion Sanders at Colorado University. And for that, I apologize. And I was stupid in that. So, Deion, keep doing what you're doing, a great job. and stay in Colorado. Do not come to the dumpster fire that is the Dallas Cowboys, because I know that rumor's been going out there.
Dion already said he's not coming to the Cowboys.
I-
He's probably
I
too
s-
smart for that.
Yeah, I saw the interview on, I think it was Speak on Fox. So, but you got Texas at number 3. That game with A&M at Kyle Field is going to be off the chain. I wish. I've never been to an A&M game. I wish that could be the first one, to be honest. But that's going to be huge. I don't know if 13. It's been 13 years, right, since they played.
It's been a while. I think we left.
I think it's
we
13 years.
Yeah, we left in 2012. I think went to the SEC, and then Texas said, "Oh, we don't want to. We don't want to play you because you left the Big 12. So boo-hoo, moo-hoo, or is it moo-hoo because it's a cow? Moo."
Oh man, it's just funny that I'm when I'm thinking about the game there. I don't know how you've been to games there. Kyle Field is a different animal, especially at night. And the first time they're playing, and I don't know if Texas wins that game. I really don't.
They're used to the old Texas A&M Stadium before it got rebuilt and added, 20,000 more seats. So, yeah, it's.
I'm trying to be objective since we're both Aggies, but I think that's going to be a really hard thing for Texas to do. Then you got a couple of Big Ten teams. You got Penn State, Indiana. Who the hell have they played? Nobody. But they are beating the hell out of everyone they play. So I think they play Ohio State this week, which is going to be the big test for them. BYU escaped against Utah. A lot of controversy at the end of that game. So right now, the BYU is on a collision course with Colorado in the Big 12 championship game. I talked a little bit about the Dion thing. The turnaround of going from the laughing stock of Division I programs, and in 2 years you're 7-2 and vying to play in the Big 12 championship game. That's pretty incredible. It's actually a really amazing turnaround by the Buffaloes. Then you got Tennessee, Miami, who lost, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Boise State.
Now, I don't realize we're Navy, but you got to talk about the one undefeated team that's, to me, should probably be ranked a little bit higher. That is the Black Knights in the Army, 9-0, which is pretty unbelievable. We were hoping the Navy would be right there with them undefeated, but maybe kind of got their ass handed to them. But
by Notre Dame, yeah. Hey, does Army play Notre Dame this week, or have they already played?
That is a good question. So,
because they both normally always play Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That would be the big test for Army to bump them up in the rankings.
Checking. I'm pretty sure you are correct in that. No, actually, you are not correct. Notre Dame is playing Virginia. So I think Army may have the week off. What I'm seeing, Army has the week off. So,
is Notre Dame on their schedule, or am I going crazy?
Looking here. No, it is on their schedule. It's November 23rd. So they play them in week 13.
So that would be Thanksgiving week, or the week before Thanksgiving. Okay, so I think that's going to be the game that if they stay undefeated and go undefeated all the way through, that's the game that would propel them potentially into the college football playoff, because these other teams, they're going to beat each other up.
Yeah, Navy doesn't have an easy game either, because the Green Wave of Tulane in the top 25, as number 25 is playing Navy this week. So that's not going to be an easy game. Normally, I would say Navy should win that game, but Tulane is 8-2. They're doing actually pretty good. The old Green Wave.
It's a nice campus down there in New Orleans too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the next couple of weeks it's going to shake out. It's going to be pretty interesting, and then you got the big matchups. Once you get to the championship games, then obviously the A&M and Texas game. Interested to see the Alabama-Auburn. I know Auburn's not very good, but they always seem to rise up in the Iron Bowl, and sometimes they just pull shockers at times. Rivalry games have a tendency to do that. And really interested to see Indiana when they play Ohio State as well. Let's see how all this shakes out. All right, changing gears. All right, manual shift for those folks who know how to drive them. Hit that clutch and press the gas at the same time. All right, the NBA. I know this isn't your forte, but the NBA, we're about 10, 11, 12 games in. You're starting to get a snippet, but you really get a feel for teams after about 20, 25 games. Before I get into surprising teams that have started the year, ratings are down. Viewership ratings of the NBA are way down, and they're racking their head. Why are they down? Let me answer that as a basketball coach. Your product sucks. Watching NBA basketball sucks. All they do is go down and jack a three or drive and kick for a three. I've seen players purposely not shoot a layup to go shoot a three or throw it out for a three. The area of the big man is dead. Like there's no poetry in motion to the game anymore.
They're a bunch of damn whiners. All they do is whine. He hit me. He hit me. He hit me. Foul. Why didn't you call a foul? That's all it is. They're getting, well, they're already there. They're as bad as soccer in flopping. You know, oh, you hit me. Ow. And the dude's like, I'm sitting on the bench, dude. What?
Well, the flopping of the NBA, things that happen in the NBA trickle down to college, to high school. This year, they put in a flopping rule in high school basketball because kids were flopping.
That's sad that you have to do that.
Yeah. And now you're putting the onus on high school referees. We had a kid on Tuesday. He was trying to take a charge, and the ref thought he was flopping because he's trying to take a charge. This kid takes 2 or 3 charges a game. So we get a delay, a warning in the book for flopping, 3 minutes into the game. And that all stems from the top. And the NBA, like, guys, your NBA Cup or in-season tournament no one cares about it. It just started. No one cares. You do have some intriguing storylines at times. Klay Thompson going back to the Warriors in San Francisco. They play in San Francisco, the Golden State Warriors, as I was corrected earlier. I thought what they did was really cool. They gave them all, they lined up all the employees at the stadium and gave them captain's hats and saluted them as he came in. Everyone in the stadium was wearing captain's hats to show their appreciation. It was really cool to see that they appreciated, his effort while in San Francisco and understood why he left and didn't try to trash him when he was there. So they ended up losing, though. The Mavericks ended up losing to Golden State and are now 5-6. So my Mavs are under 500 now, unfortunately.
Well, the Texas teams are not doing so well, except for maybe the Rockets. The Rockets at least have a winning record, but the Spurs and Mavericks are kind of still early in the season, but still.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, about 25 games in is when you know what type of team you have and what the things you need to fix to get on route. The Mavs, they're still finding their balance, having Klay Thompson, and they've had a few injuries. Lively's been out. He just got back. Exel's been out. But they do have some rotational things they got to figure out.
So this, I guess this is a question for you. How bad is the Eastern Conference when they only have 3 teams that have not even 3 teams. They only have 2 teams with an actual winning record out of the entire Eastern Conference.
That tells me the East sucks.
That means the Cavaliers and the Celtics and everybody else is either at 500 or have a losing record. That's 15 damn teams.
Yeah,
That's
that's
15
insane.
games.
Yeah,
Jeez.
the Cavs are 12-0.
Yeah.
And that kind of surprised me that they're still undefeated. And then in the West, the Suns and the Warriors at 9-2 at the top. Um, the Suns rebounding after last year's debacle. Um, and then the Warriors basically saying, "Hey, Clay, we loved you, but we're better without you." Apparently, interesting there. Um,
Yeah, I just
you
can't
know,
believe
and
the
in the
Eastern Conference.
NHL, just a brief NHL, the Jets are 15-1 from Winnipeg. Like that, just in hockey, period. That's a crazy record going 15-1. You normally don't see
Mhm.
that percentage. The Minnesota Wild are 10-2 and 3. The Wild have normally been a laughing stock of the league. Our Stars are 9-5, third in the Western Conference, and then the Panthers are running the Eastern Conference again at 11-4. So it'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out as the season unfolds. But they're in the same
Well,
situation. You want to know what type of team you have in about 20 to 25 games in the season.
well, and what I always go back to is goalies. And if you look at goals against for the Jets and the Wild and the Stars, especially the Stars, because the Stars goals against record is the best in the league. And but the team to watch out for that will rise to the top is in the Eastern Conference, which would be the Hurricanes. I think they have good goaltending, even though their record isn't well. They're 11-3, so it's not too bad. So Hurricanes are going to be another one to watch out for. But yeah, the Stars. I always say it's goaltending. If your goaltender's hot, you can overcome what you're doing as far as making goals, because the Stars are not top of the league in goals for making goals. So their goaltending right now is what's holding the Stars where they're at.
Well, that's why they signed Ottinger to a long-term deal. He is
Yep.
legit, and he's young.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I think their offense will figure it out. I think there's too much talent on the offensive side for them not to start scoring goals. I think they had 7 a couple games ago, or last game this past weekend. I think they won 7-1.
Mhm.
I think they'll figure it out. To a team that's not going to figure it out, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh God. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And what did I say before? I said, Micah, you need to shut up. You really need to shut up, Micah. I understand the frustration, but this team, I like our people. I like our people. We ain't gonna win, but I like our people. But all funniness aside here, first off, Micah does need to shut up. But do you realize that this team could have had a starting lineup this year of Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, and could have had Marshawn Lattimore on the defensive side? Could have had all those players.
I do know that. And you could even add Amari Cooper.
Yeah. Could you
Even if
imagine what they would be like with that? I
we'd be a hell of a lot better. The offensive line has been a
I,
disappointment.
I do
But
think that Derrick Henry, isn't he leading the league in rushing right now?
yes, I don't know if he leaves the league if he's in Dallas. Like I said,
Yeah.
offensive line has struggled mightily, but we would
I
be.
would
I
not
think we'd
say the
be.
Ravens' offensive line is that great. I would
I get
not
it,
say that it's
but
that great.
I also think that I do think we would be a much better team. You add those type of players, of course you're gonna be a better team. Uh, but that's the difference of those teams making those moves. And Lattimore went to freaking Washington. All right. Hopkins goes to Kansas City Chiefs. Cooper goes to the Bills. Championship teams make moves. We're not making any moves. We're not a championship team. We're not
Oh,
even
wait,
close.
no, we are making a move. It's a move to the bottom of the freaking division is what we're making a move to.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, it's
and
between us and the Giants right now. It's really, what pick are we going to get at this point? And Micah going off, not off, but talking about McCarthy the way he did was stupid on his part. So I agree with you. He was doing his podcast in a sweatshirt the other day. I said, "Do more, say less." I tweeted at him. I'm like, "Hey, homie, why don't you do what your sweatshirt says? Do more and say less." And that's the problem with a lot of the generation of the athletes today is they want to
Are-
do what we're doing on the podcast. You know, dude, your job is to play and make plays. Leave the broadcasting shit to after your career.
now I
Yeah.
will say is for Micah, not that I think he just needs to shut up. But that defense is a totally different defense with him in the lineup. They were a lot better with him in the lineup. But everything else sucks still. And I say it's time for Lance. Give him a chance. Let him play the rest of the year. See what you got. And, if anything, he's going to be trade bait anyway. So,
Well, ain't no one trading for Trey Lance
but
unless he goes
let him
off.
play. Let him
Well,
play.
you got to let him. You have to let him play. And if you're still starting Cooper Rush this week, you're doing your organization a disservice. And
Good God.
Mike
What do you
McCarthy,
have? He had 36 yards passing in the first half. I can throw for 36 yards for a lot less money. Put me out there. Give me some pads. Hell, I'll even do it with no pads. I'll throw for 36 yards. I could do that.
don't think you think you're
Yes, I can.
overestimating.
All I need is CD Lamb running a 2-yard slant, get it to him, and he runs for the other 34 yards. And I'm good.
On the
36
first
yards.
throw, you're going to
There we go. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a dumpster fire. It really is. And, it's when I talked about Zeke having a decent year, I was also looking at this offensive line, which I don't know what's going on with Zach Martin, but Zach Martin is not the Zach Martin of old, and maybe it's because he's old. But he every time Dak was getting sacked, every time Coop was getting sacked, a lot of times they're coming from Zach Martin's side. But the blocking is terrible.
Oh,
It's terrible.
Terrence Steele's on that side, and he needs to be gone. But, let's get back to Zeke. Can you admit that was a mistake?
I don't. Of course it was a mistake when you had a chance to get Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. That makes it a mistake. But here was the best of what was left because I was all in and I waited. I had to take what was out there, Sonny.
Look, you could have got Austin Eckler, which would have been a better option. You could have got Josh Jacobs, which would have been a better option, or anyone under the age of 29 and who hasn't been run into the ground. Like, and I understood your point at the beginning of the season, like, oh, short yardage, touchdowns. Get that. But, and now he's been missing meetings. He's become a discipline issue because he's not playing. So it was a mistake, and I didn't like it from the beginning. I told you that when they signed him. Like, this was stupid. Like, you're going to bring it back a guy who didn't dominate. He was supposed to be the first running back in New England.
I think it's a systemic problem with the entire team. They've lost faith in their coach. And it's all because their owner has put them in this situation. And I don't put this solely on McCarthy. I really don't. I put this on the ownership.
Front office.
It's the front office that put them in this place. And unfortunately, McCarthy is going to be the scapegoat. He's going to lose his job over it because you can't fix, if you don't have the tools in the toolbox, you can't fix the motor.
Not only do you not have the tools in the toolbox, you have an owner who is defiant to the end, who won't put a fucking shade on the window to not blind his own players. The CeeDee Lamb missed touchdown isn't the first time that's happened to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And they're already there. Just put them down or close them or tint the windows or something. Don't give me this BS that, it's to feel like you're in an outside stadium. Mother effer, you never open the roof. Don't give me this, you're supposed to have an outside feel. Don't give me, dude, you won't do what it takes to win. It's all BS lip service, and Cowboy fans like myself and like you aren't buying it anymore. I've been bitter since 2007 when I had faith in that team. So, like, man, if you start looking at next year's team, you got one wide receiver that needs to come back, and that's CeeDee Lamb. Get rid of the rest of them. Rebuild. You got a quarterback that you have to keep because of the contract. You don't have the running back on this roster. You got a left tackle who's young. You got Guyton, Smith, Beebe, maybe Bass at the right guard.
So should they tank the season?
100%.
Should they tank? So yeah, it's because
you don't have a right tackle.
I'm not going to take credit for this, but it was Stephen A. Smith, who I do not agree with on most of his takes. I don't like the man, but I will take his take today and run with it because I think it makes a lot of sense. But talking about that Deion Sanders rumor, he said Cowboys should tank it, get that first pick, take Sanders, the quarterback, and then get Deion to be the coach.
You're not going to take Shedeur Sanders because you just signed Dak Prescott. You're not going to sit Shedeur Sanders.
Are you saying that the front office wouldn't do something stupid?
That would be smart, but they're not going to do it because they just signed Dak. That's wasting a first round pick.
So who would you put your first round pick on? Well, maybe that's a talk for another day when you prepare.
I would probably go with Travis Hunter if I had the first pick, his teammate. But you also need a right tackle because Steele sucks. Ferguson's serviceable at the tight end. You like Ferguson more than I do.
Fergalicious.
You got Parsons. Sam Williams comes back after the injury and Nealon because D-Law is gone. His contract's up.
Don't we have an issue with the contract with a certain guy named Micah?
They can franchise him for like 2 more years. He's not going anywhere.
That's true.
You don't have a defensive tackle worth his weight in salt on this roster.
You still hating on Mozzie?
Mozzie sucks balls. All right.
I hope he doesn't ever listen to the show, man, because he's going to come kick your ass.
Look, it's just a
same
fact.
thing with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to kick my ass, but you know what? You suck as a quarterback, Josh. That's what
I can get away from Mozzie a lot faster than you can get away from Josh Allen.
Whatever. I go between his legs. I'm not sure. Just go.
No
I'm a former running back. So,
but yeah, you don't have a defensive tackle at all on this roster. I think your linebackers next year are Overshawn and the rookie Lafu'u, or how you say his name. I like both of them, Diggs and Bland, and I don't know who your next corner is. And I think the safeties they both suck too. Like you got to find some safety help. Those guys have regressed. I really liked Donovan Wilson last year and the year before, but I think losing Javon Curse really hurt this team in the safety position.
Curse go anyway.
I think he went to Washington.
Oh, that's probably where he went.
I mean, damn near everyone who left Dallas went to Washington. But, when you start looking at the holes they have, like you mentioned the Sanders thing, you're not going to take Shedeur Sanders and sit on for 2 or 3 years so when Dak's money becomes manageable, you can start playing them. This organization is not the Green Bay Packers. They're not willing to do that. And I don't think Shedeur Sanders is willing to do that. So, you have a lot of other needs. And I think the Travis Hunter kid would fill that second wide receiver need. But I think if you can get Genty in the second or third round, that would be your running back from Boise State. Or get if you can get him in the third round, maybe take a tackle in the second round. And you're going to fill some holes in free agency. You're going to have to spend some money. You got to find some safeties and defensive tackles in free agency somewhere. I haven't looked at the free agent list in the upcoming season. A little too soon for that, but you got to get some other wide receivers in here to help CD. I know Cooks has been hurt, but Cooks is a solid third or fourth round at this point, or third or fourth receiver. He's not a 2. And I know Mingo's making his debut this weekend. They traded a 4th round pick, one of the worst GM moves of all time. Trade a 4th rounder for a guy in 9 catches. I don't think he's much of anything. Hopefully I'm wrong. And I do like Tolbert. I know you like Tolbert. I think he's a 3rd or 4th guy on the depth chart as well. I think he's serviceable, but I don't think he's a number 2 to take the pressure off CD. So, but a lot of holes to fill in 2025. And I'll be honest, I don't know how we look next year. So, and that's sad that we're already talking about next year at this point in the season. So, but yeah, that's my Cowboys review so far these past 2 weeks. We suck.
Yeah, it's bad. And just so you know, Jerron Curse is a free agent. He's not signed by anybody.
Oh, well, way to go all in there, Jerry.
Yep. He's still out there. So, yeah, it sucks for Cowboy fans because every year it is about, we can do this. And I think this year was different because everybody kind of knew that it just wasn't going to happen because they don't do anything in the front office. I like to make fun of Jerry Jones, but I hate him. I don't like him because, I did like him back when he cared about winning. And that was back when he bought the team. He made the statement, winning is everything. We will win. Winning is everything. And Jimmy Johnson had that same attitude. Jimmy Johnson would make commercials during the season talking about going to the Super Bowl, and they would do it. He backed up what he said. And the problem is now it became more about marketing. It became more about the giant stadium. It became more about the flash and dash and the merchandise and all that stuff instead of being a winning football team.
So here's my question.
Yes.
We both agree McCarthy's out. I think most everyone else in America agrees McCarthy's done. Who's your pick for the next coach?
My pick would be a guy who nobody's thinking about. And his initials, let me see if you can guess who they are. His initials are NS.
NS? N? Okay, you got me. That's not who I thought you were going to go with, because last year you were all about Belichick. So
Nick Saban. Yes, I think Nick Saban would be the coach, and I think that's the rumor. Some people starting to talk about it because he's the only one who would come in and say, "Jerry, step aside."
You don't think Belichick would tell him to step aside? That's not my pick, by the way. I'm just throwing that out.
I think Belichick could do it too. I think Nick Saban would bring, because to me, I think Jerry is more into, you take a look, he brought Jimmy Johnson in. He brought Barry Switzer in. They were winning college coaches, and he had a lot of respect for them. Even though I know Switzer was, kind of a fill-in, and he was great when he coached college football, and then he came to Cowboys, and it was kind of like, well, he's here. But they're still going to do what they do. We did it. We did it. But I think Nick Saban starting that rumor. I want to bring him in. Let's see what he can do. Now, I know he's been in the NFL before, didn't do that well. But I think in this situation, because he was in the premier college program and held that position for many, many years, all people kept saying, please, God, let Nick Saban retire so another college football team can win a damn championship. So I think that would be that one. Second in line for me would be Bill Belichick or I can't think of his name, the offensive coordinator for Minnesota right now. I cannot think of his name.
Well, while you Google that, I think your Nick Saban idea is asinine. I think that's crazy talk. I don't think it's crazy talk from the perspective of Jerry Jones. I think it's crazy talk from the perspective of Nick Saban. Nick Saban didn't leave Alabama to go deal with the Dallas Cowboys drama. There's no way. I think you would have listened if it was a team that was ready to win. But as you stated, he wasn't very good in Miami. When he was there, matter of fact, he refused to sign Drew Brees, matter of fact, if my memory serves me right. And so Drew Brees goes to New Orleans. But at the end of the day, the Belichick thing will be there because I know him and Jerry have a good relationship. And I do agree with you. I think he could tell. I think Jerry would give up a lot of control to him, maybe not all of it. But I think the Cowboys need an inventive, young, enthusiastic guy who's been around creating a culture of a losing program. And that's the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions. That's who I think should be the next head coach. That's who I'd go.
Well, the reason, and I don't know why I couldn't remember his name, because he is the son of a very damn good coach, and actually a coach that coached the Cowboys for a little while, and they did very well. The offensive coordinator for the Minnesota, where's my hat? It's over here. Wes Phillips. Wade Phillips' kid. Do you realize that Wade Phillips' kid, Wes Phillips, has been in the league for 18 years?
No, I didn't know that.
But what he has done with Minnesota with a quarterback that everybody said is a backup, can't do anything. I think Wes Phillips would be a very good choice because Wade got kind of ramrodded. Wade had a lot of issues with injuries and different things and dealing with Jerry. But I think you do need an offensive guru. And I think Wes Phillips brings the pedigree to the position. That's a name that nobody's thinking of too. But what he's done with Minnesota and Sam Darnold this year, I think you need a guy who can get a quarterback back on track. And that, to me, when a quarterback turns it around like he has, like Sam Darnold has, I look at the coach because it's usually the coach that helps them do that. They don't do that on their own.
Well, I think you're making the case for either of those two guys, right? Your Phillips pick and Ben Johnson's doing it with Jared Goff. He's not seen as a top line guy. I just think the culture needs to be rebuilt, and he's been there with Dan Campbell. And really, I think the Cowboys need an infusion of a Detroit Lions type of atmosphere, which I never thought I would say in my lifetime because the Detroit Lions are the Detroit Lions for my entire life until the last 4 or 5 years. And so he's super inventive on offense. I think he gets the best out of his players, scheme wise. And when you look at Amon St. Brown and compare him to CeeDee Lamb, I think that is a really fair comparison and how he schemes him open a lot of the time. and you get him a decent running back and you shore up the line, now you're talking you're pretty dangerous as an offense. Obviously, adding a running back probably in the draft or something like that. But you start giving Ben Johnson the tools. I really like his offensive mind. So, and I know we're kind of getting a little up against our time cap. So, folks, I hope you made it to the end here. You know, probably next week or the week after will be our next episode. We're in a 2-week pattern here. My basketball season has started as a basketball coach, so it's a little harder. And my man's over here running a company. So hopefully a little more analytical today, a little less entertainment today. I will say that. So hopefully y'all enjoyed a little bit of more of a breakdown from us, and hopefully you made it this far. Our analytics said you probably didn't. So
did I tell you that I found a voice in my Waves app that is, it's an Indian guy who tells dad jokes.
Yes, you did. You did. And we
He's
got like
very funny because he's always like, turn right. And did you know why you need, if you're going to make a U-turn, that you will have to do a U-turn? Because if I did it, it would be a me turn. And there you have it. Awesome.
folks, I was just trying to sign off and give my normal shout outs. Now
We haven't even done our picks yet. You
Well,
can't sign off. We haven't done picks yet. You're just trying to end it.
Well, shit, we're over an hour.
No, we're not. Oh, yeah, we
yes,
are, aren't we? Yeah.
Yes, we are. All right, let's
Well,
get our picks and then we'll be done. All right. Commanders at Philadelphia.
I'm saying Commanders as much as I hate to say it. The Commanders are going to win that game.
I am agreeing with you, actually. Texans versus Cowboys.
Oh, God. I hate to say this. I really hate to say this.
Got to get your head out.
Texans.
Yeah, we're both going Texans. All right. So we agreed we're both doing Chiefs, Bills. I got the Bills. You got the Chiefs. I already know that. So my first wild card game is Chargers versus the Bengals. I am picking the Chargers. And my second one is Falcons versus the Broncos, and I'm going Falcons.
All right. So mine is Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I'm taking Pittsburgh to win, even though they're going to be in Baltimore, to be a little bit of an upset. And then, of course, the next game, Minnesota at Tennessee. And I'm taking, well,
Minnesota.
You know who I'm taking.
Yes, you are. All right. Just real quick.
There goes that.
I went to the Camp Hope barbecue last weekend. Really cool event, raising money for Camp Hope here in the Houston area for vets. Happy belated Veterans Day to everyone who sees this. We're both vets ourselves. The Navy is a family business for us. My grandfather was in World War II in the Navy. Your other son and my little brother was in the Navy. Then we have a weird cousin who was in the Air Force. And your grandson and my nephew has chosen the Coast Guard mistakenly in for a life of ridicule. But we are proud of you, Jake.
Yes. Very so.
And so, yeah. All right. Hopefully I can edit these 2 minutes down to less than an hour. So post this. But we love y'all. We appreciate it. All right. We love all the support. We will talk to y'all later.
Hang in there, Cowboy fans. At least for a year.
Yeah.
There's always next year.